hour later than we're accustomed to, so I want to make sure we go through the whole entire process. Can you put it to the top of the agenda, Melissa? Okay, so I'd like to call this meeting to order, and this is the agenda for special legislative meeting of Mayor and Council for the City of Rainier for Tuesday, August 9, 2022, 8 p.m., and it's a virtual meeting. We're going to do a call to order. Councilmember Luke Chesek.
Here.
Councilmember Valerie Woodall.
I'm here.
Councilmember Jared Stoffus.
Here.
Councilmember Jimmy Tarlow.
Here.
He's here. And I, as the mayor, I'm here, so we have a full quorum. Okay, Vice Mayor, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yep, absolutely. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We're going to be moving on to item number 2, review of the agenda. The Mayor Council will review the agenda for the meeting, adding or deleting topics of interest or discussion. Vice Mayor, can you read the for number 3 and on, please?
Absolutely. Special meeting, legislative meeting of the Mayor and City Council, City of Mount Rainier, Tuesday, August 9th, 8 p.m. virtual meeting. Number 1, call of order, Pledge of Allegiance. Number 2, review of the agenda. The Mayor and Council review the agenda for the meeting, adding or deleting topics of interest or discussion. Number 3, public comment. Number 4, second reading and adoption of Ordinance 08-2022, issuance of a general obligation bond to finance or reimburse cost of the Potts Hall, open parentheses, Welcome Center. Renovations project and related costs, 20 minutes. The Mayor and Council have the second reading and adoption of Ordinance 08-2022, issuance of general obligation bond to finance or reimburse costs of the Potts Hall or the Welcome Center, renovations project and related costs. Number 5, discussion on the Operation Arts project, and Council discussion on the Operation Arts project. Number 6, closed session summary. Vice Mayor Jared Stoltzfus will read the closed session summary for Tuesday, January 26, 2022 into record. Number 7, introduction and first reading of Ordinance 09-2022 FY 2023 budget amendment. Number 1, 10 minutes. The Mayor and Council will introduce and have the first reading of Ordinance number 9-2022. Introduction of first reading of resolution number 3-2022, creating the Mount Rainier Youth Council, 10 minutes. The Mayor and Council will introduce and have the first reading of resolution number 3-2022. Presentations. Excuse me, the Mayor and Council received the June 7th, 2022 legislative meeting, June 21st, 2022 special legislative meeting and work session, June 21st, 2022 special legislative meeting and public hearing, and July 26, 2022, special legislative meeting from the city clerk. And number 10, adjournment.
Thank you so much. Just to clarify, before we move on, it is the agenda was also posted under the section council meeting agendas and minutes is the last one, the last entry in the deck. Okay. So I just went and checked, and I'm happy to take a screenshot and send it to you guys, but I know our team have put it because they mentioned it to me earlier. Okay. So it's there. You could download the agenda in there as well. All right. So council, I need to know if there's anything you need to add or if you're moving to approve the agenda as presented or delete.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Luke and Valerie. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none from council, no abstentions. The agenda is going to be approved as presented. Thank you, council. We're going to open up to item number 3, public comment. During this section, the members of the public are welcome to speak. If you're a member of the public, please state your block and street number. You have 3 minutes to speak uninterrupted. If you're part of a group, you have 5 minutes, but you must represent the group, and the rest of the group members cede the time to you. We ask that if it's an item that is going to be on the agenda, you ask the questions during the item on the agenda, unless you cannot be here later on for the item. Then utilize it for public comment, but that will also be able to allow us to mainstream the information as we touch the various items on the agenda. So at this moment, I'm going to ask if there's any member of the public that wishes to speak on public comment. Please add your name, last name, street block, and number so I could call you on the chat. Okay. So give a few minutes for you to do that. Any member of the public that has made a comment on Facebook? Jared? Thank you so much. All right. So seeing there's no comments on Facebook or on the chat, we're going to move on to item number 4. This will be the second reading and adoption ordinance OA 2022, issuing of a general obligation bond to finance or reimburse costs of Potts Hall Welcome Center renovations project and related costs. This is 20-minute discussion. The Mayor and Council will have the second reading adoption of the ordinance OA 2022, issuing of a general obligation bond to finance or reimburse costs of Potts Hall Welcome Center renovations project and related costs. So this item will be open up for discussion right now. Can I have our legal team please give us a brief summary of what it is? So that way the members of our community are aware of what we're discussing today. So Lindsay?
Yes, certainly, Mayor. I'll read the title as I did 2 weeks ago, because that constitutes a fair summary, and then give a brief overview.
Thank you.
So the title is An Ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of City of Mount Rainier, which is defined as the city, authorizing the issuance and sale upon the full faith and credit of the city of a general obligation installment bond in the original principal amount not to exceed $2 million, and that's written out in words and numbers, to be designated the City of Mount Rainier Public Improvements Bond of 2022, defined as the bond, providing that principal of the bond will be used for the public purpose of financing or reimbursing costs of the project, generally referred to as Potts Hall Welcome Center renovations and related costs as further described herein, prescribing the form and tenor of the bond and the terms and conditions for the issuance and sale thereof at private negotiated sale without advertisement or solicitation of competitive bids in a direct purchase transaction to Truist Bank, a North Carolina banking corporation, and other details incident to the sale, issuance, and delivery of the bond, authorizing the city manager to determine the final original principal amount of the bond as described herein, providing for the circumstances under which the principal amount of the bond may be reallocated to other projects, making certain representations, covenants, or acknowledgements required by Truist Bank, providing for the appropriation, disbursement, and investment of the proceeds of the bond, pledging the city's full faith and credit and unlimited taxing power to payment of debt service on the bond, providing yes, and providing for the imposition of ad valorem taxes sufficient for such purpose. Providing that debt service on the bond also may be paid from any other lawfully available sources of revenue. Authorizing certain city officials to take certain actions in connection with the bond. Making or providing for certain representations, covenants, and designations relating to the tax exempt status of the bond. Providing that any provisions of this ordinance that are inconsistent with any city debt policy shall control. Providing that this title is deemed a fair summary of this ordinance. Providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed and generally relating to the sale, issuance, delivery, and payment of and for the bond. And that title really does give you a very good overview of the ordinance provisions, but some key points are that the debt, there is a defined term project and another defined term costs of the project that are used throughout the ordinance. As noted in the title, because this bond is only being issued for the purposes of one project, the procedures, if the city decides it needs to reallocate any proceeds at some point, are set forth in the ordinance. And basically the city council would have to enact a supplemental ordinance that authorizes the use of any bond proceeds for another project. The city manager is delegated the authority to approve the final amount of the bond in an amount less than $2 million in two circumstances. One of which is if the council was to decide prior to closing that it wanted to borrow less than $2 million, and any such decision, of course, would require a special meeting of the council. Or two, the ordinance provides that in the event the debt limit set forth in the charter mandated that the bond had to be issued in an amount less than $2 million, the city manager could approve that lesser principal amount. Now, as an aside, the good news is Mr. Kamali has provided me with the city's assessable base information, and I've run the calculations, and $2 million will not cause the city to violate its charter debt limit. We didn't expect that that debt limit would be violated, but we had to undertake the calculations. The bond will mature 10 years from the date of its issuance. The city will owe semi-annual payments of principal and interest to the bondholder. The bond will initially bear interest at an annual rate of 3.27%, and hopefully that will remain the interest rate throughout the life of the bond. In the ordinance, that's referred to as the tax exempt rate. There are two circumstances in which the interest rate on the bond could be increased. One, if the bond is determined not to be a qualified tax exempt obligation for federal income tax purposes, and that would happen if the city issued more than $10 million of certain types of tax exempt obligations within calendar year 2022, or if interest on the bond is found to be taxable for federal income tax purposes. If the bond is non-bank qualified, the interest rate will increase to 3.32%. And if the bond is found to bear interest at a taxable rate, the interest rate will increase to 4.19%. In each of those scenarios, the city could owe additional costs, back interest, et cetera, to the bondholder or any prior bondholder. There are standard provisions for the payment of the bond, its transfer, or its exchange. The city has the right to prepay the bond in whole only at any time, beginning on that date, which is 5 years from the date of issuance of the bond. If the city exercises that right, it needs to give the holder of the bond at least 15 days prior written notice of its exercise, and the city will owe the then entire outstanding principal amount of the bond, but plus accrued interest on that amount to the selected date for prepayment. The form of bond, or the substantially final form of bond, is attached to the ordinance's Exhibit A, and the city manager is authorized to complete and sign that form, or the final form of the bond. And the completion would include modifying the bond to reflect anything anticipated by this ordinance. The bond will be sold to Truist Bank. The city makes certain representations to Truist Bank, including that it will promptly provide its annual audited financial statements within 270 days of each fiscal year and to Truist Bank or any other holder of the bond. There are certifications set forth in the ordinance that Truist Bank or any subsequent holder of the bond will have to make to the city if the bond is both at its original issuance and upon any subsequent transfer. The city agrees to pay Truist Bank's counsel fees not in an amount not to exceed $77,500. We anticipate closing on August 25th or on such other date as the city manager, bond counsel, and Truist Bank might agree to, although Truist Bank is not obligated to agree to a closing date beyond August 26th. There's authorization to city officials to sign closing documents and also to the city manager to make sure the bond and any closing documents reflect terms that are required by Truist Bank, either through its proposal to purchase the bond or in case any of those terms are not correctly reflected in this ordinance. There are provisions for disbursement and investment of the proceeds of the bond. Most importantly, one, the city pledges its full faith and credit and unlimited taxing power to payment of the bond, although the city can use other available revenues to pay debt service on the bond as long as that doesn't violate any applicable law. And two, the city makes certain covenants in the ordinance regarding the tax exempt status of the bond. The city designates the bond as bank qualified for federal income tax purposes. The ordinance will override any inconsistent provisions in any city debt policy. The title constitutes a fair summary of the ordinance, and the ordinance should be liberally construed in order to effectuate the planned transaction.
Thank you so much, Nancy. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floor to council for any questions. We're gonna start with Ward 1. Jimmy, the floor is yours. Jimmy, if you're talking, we cannot hear you.
Good. Wasn't worth listening to. I don't have any comment. At some point, I think it would be helpful if either Luke or someone actually summarized the whole sense of the project and how much money the bond is versus other money we're raising, just so the public knows that. But I have no comment and supportive of the actual resolution.
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, that was the next step. But Luke, since you're next on the line, can you go ahead and give us a summary or where we're potentially looking to fund the rest of the money and any feedback that you have? And we'll do it separately so that way it doesn't eat up your time, okay? Go ahead.
Sure, and I apologize, I'm not on video. Internet connection is a little choppy here, so hopefully I don't go in and out too much. But just to sort of set the stage here, so let me see how I could set the stage here first. Potts Hall, as I think many in the public know, some may not, is the building next to City Hall. It is a historic building, and so from that perspective, we've been told that it may not be the most attractive place for developers, but the city is still in need of space for staff and other uses that we may want for public space, such as council chambers or community room or something like that. So Brian Nedler and Mayor Miles and a whole bunch of people who were here before us did a lot of work in getting a design for revitalizing Potts Hall. They got it purchased, and the redesign would really get it back to its historical glory, so to speak. The cost of that, Mr. Kamali, is it between 4 and 5 million now? Is that the estimate, Mr. Kamali?
Well, the last estimate that was done, it was 3.5, but today's market, it could go, because I was talking to the architects and they said it could go more than 4 million. So we could be at 4.4 or 4.5 million. It depends on the proposals that we receive.
Okay. And so you the 4.5 million for the public's information. We're getting about 1.2, 1.5 million, somewhere around that from the state. We know for sure. This would be 2 million additionals. That would put us at like 3.4, 3.5. And we're looking to get more money from the state or the feds as well. So this $2 million will help with that. We want to make sure we don't borrow more than we have to or more than we couldn't spend. So we wanted to leave ourselves some room to go get money from this, go get more money from the state or the feds. We also have a healthy amount in our reserves if we ever needed to cover anything. The other thing that makes this financing attractive is the city's current financing, which was used to finance the current police station, the purchase of Bass Liquors and the funeral home. That debt can become paid soon. So if we pay off that debt, this debt can just take the place of that debt in our budget, and we could keep smooth sailing. So we wouldn't have to raise taxes or have too much of a hit on the budget. And so that's sort of the purpose here and how this project sort of fits together with from a just big picture financial perspective. Hope that did everything, Jimmy, that you wanted.
Just Luke, just one more thing. We also allocated $1 million from ARPA.
Oh, right, the ARPA. So yep, I totally forgot about that. So that pretty much covers the cost. So hopefully we don't have to do much for the city. I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Luke. No, now you have the floor to have any comment that you have about this project, because you did give us the additional summary. I just want to make sure you have time to express your thoughts as well.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I would just say that I think this is part of a big picture solution to our downtown core. This is sort of like the first domino to fall. Once we develop Potts Hall, we can have the city council chambers go into the second floor there. That would double as a community room. That opens up space for staff to be in the second floor of City Hall, which frees up staff that are currently in the insurance building next to Potts Hall. And that would open up a lot of options for us, because that means that, we also own the Melinda Miles building, which is the old doctor's office. We could talk about moving the library into that building, talk about moving the library into the first floor of Potts Hall and develop the Mayor Miles building. And that frees up what to do with where the current library is and the insurance company. That could be developed. All answers to those questions and discussions about how to develop the city can start taking place once this domino falls. And so I think it's something we need to do and should do. And I think it's fortuitous that this can just step in and replace our current bound obligation in the budget. Thank you, Mayor. I support it. Bye.
Thank you so much, Luke. Valerie?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, thank you for city staff and council members who have put this together. I'm totally supportive of it. So thank you.
Jared?
Yep, no, and thank you to everyone, past city council, current and past staff that's worked on this really important project for downtown core. And thank you, Luke, again for providing that summary for folks that might just be listening to this for the first time. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. It's definitely important, as Luke mentions, the domino effect. And ultimately what we want is to make sure all of our city buildings are in working condition so we could utilize them. I think that we're definitely in a good position to be able to replace one debt for the other. And we have learned through the acquisition of several buildings in the, that the city has as part of the real estate folder, that it is important. Quite a few of the former council members and mayors, invested in the city. And now Rhode Island has become a commodity to be able to own property. Had they not been visionaries in focusing in this, we wouldn't be where we're at. So I think that that's one of the things that we also need to realize to consider. And at the same time, Potts Hall is open for us to be able to do the things that we need. It's like shovel-ready project, and it needs the funding for us to do it, or give us the community space that we need that we don't currently have. And at the same time, we'll make the building functional. So it's great to say we have historical buildings that are property of the city, but if they're in disarray, we might as well not even say they're here. So I think our team has put puts a lot of effort to put a good package together, and we're in excellent time to be able to execute this. So definitely 100% in favor of this. So at this point, Constance, if you have nothing else to add, I'm going to go ahead and open it to the public. Okay. So if you have any comments you would like to make on Ordinance 08-2022, Can you please put it on the chat? And I do have something from Brian Netler, former councilor, former mayor as well. Appreciative Lindsay and Luke's giving some 6 summaries, and appreciative of the current council for supporting this. Thank you for your work, Brian, because you definitely have been, working on leading on this, and so did Mayor Miles. Okay, anybody from the public? And let me know if there's any comments on Facebook as well. Thank you. And Luke gave you a summary of where funding is gonna come, but please be aware, we're gonna continue going after funding for the building as well, okay? So that's part of the goal as well, to make sure we cover our bases to make this project happen. Okay, nobody on the chat? Okay, Council, I feel like we're giving people a fair enough opportunity to let us know if they have something to say about this, either one or the other. This is the second reading. We make sure we went to accordance with the time to be able to have the first and second reading with the allocated time. And our legal team make sure we have taken care of all of our I's and T's. So thank you, Lindsay, Alyssa as well for this work. Okay, so Council, at this point, seeing no comments, I would like to call the question. Can somebody put a motion on the floor?
So moved.
I'll do the motion then. Ordinance to approve Ordinance 08/2022, insurance of general obligation bond to finance or reimburse costs of Paltza Welcome Center renovations project and related costs. Legal team, does that suffice, or do you need me to add anything else to this question?
Mayor, I'm satisfied by that as the motion, unless Alyssa has anything else to add.
Should I add the 2 million attached to it just for safekeeping? Alyssa?
You're on the mute.
You're muted, Alyssa.
I'm sorry, I think it's fine.
Okay, perfect. So you have a motion on the floor. Council, where are you at? Is there a second?
Call the question.
Second.
I call the question. Jimmy first and second. Okay, because it's a significant vote, I will go ahead and call you guys by name, so that was on record that you guys voted individually. Okay. So Jimmy Tarlow,
Yes.
Luke Chesek,
Yes.
Jared Stolfus,
Yes.
Valerie Woodall,
Yes.
Selena Benitez, that'll be me. Yes. So we have a 5-0-0. Ordinance 08/2022 has passed. Don't you all celebrate at once?
Way.
Brian said he's like popping champagne and everything. All right, perfect. Lindsay, is there anything else we need to do regarding this ordinance at this moment, or we're good?
No, we are good. I've already arranged with Melissa for publication of the fair summary of the ordinance. And I'll just need a copy of a scan of the signed ordinance once available. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. So Council, make yourself available to get those signatures to sign the resolution as soon as possible as well. Okay. All right, perfect. So moving on to item number 5. This there you go. Discussion on Operation Arch project. And this is 10 minutes. The Mayor and Council will have a discussion on Operation Arch project. Operation Arch project is the second time that their team has come to us. Last time Mayor and Council was very eager to work with them. And they went out to secure some funding to reduce the cost of the project. And I do have, let me see, I saw a couple of them here. I mean, let me see, where are you? China, I see you here, and I also see somebody under Operations Art title. So can you give us a quick rundown what Operation Arts is and what are you offering and the grant that you have secured and you guys are working on securing? The floor is yours.
Hello, my name is China May, and I'm part of Operation Arts Foundation. Our mission is to develop the creative economy, and our programming involves public arts, internship programs, professional development, and providing opportunities to the public. The project that we are proposing to Mount Rainier is a free little art gallery. We've been very successful with our programming last year and bringing a free little art gallery to Edmonston and Brentwood, Maryland. This year, we're proposing 3 different locations, and Mount Rainier will be one of 3. And so far, we have secured a third of the funding, which is $3,500 so far, and we're looking to also secure another third. So if Mount Rainier is able to help us with the last third, then we can definitely bring that project to the city. And I'll let Renee take this from here. Did you want to add anything?
Sure. So just so that everybody understands, the free little art gallery, it's kind of in the vein of thought of the free little library, but we use the location for people to trade art as a way to tell their story. So instead of you come in, you take a book or you leave a book, you come in, we provide supplies, and you get to create a little piece of artwork and then leave a little piece of artwork, and the community can tell stories and communicate through that artwork using that location. And as my partner said, we have had a great deal of success so far at our Edmonston location and our Brentwood location. And Mount Rainier really just seems like the perfect next step for this. And when we've been speaking with the mayor, she has seemed very excited about it. The council last time seemed very excited about this project, and we're really just looking forward to moving forward with this project. Any questions?
Thank you guys so much. So I'm gonna open it up to council. Council members. We'll start with Jared, Valerie, Jimmy, and Luke. Go ahead. Jared, the floor is yours.
You're
Jared,
muted.
mute.
Sorry, guys. No, I just want to thank you for coming out and discussing and providing some background information about your project. I don't think at this point I have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.
So I guess one of my questions is where in Mount Rainier would this little free art gallery go? Are there certain locations that you've looked at, or, you know, central place in Mount Rainier?
Not necessarily. We're looking to finalize the location with you, the council, or the mayor. We prefer places that are kind of high traffic areas. We found that they get more attention that way, and they're a little bit more secure from any sort of vandalism. Like, parks are nice, but there's no sort of surveillance there. There's no one there keeping an eye 24/7. So maybe somewhere near a town hall or whatever you know your community best. So we would like to work with the council and the mayor to find a good location.
We're open to suggestions as well. We've had great success in front of like restaurants, in front of like art centers. We've been proposed recreational centers, community centers out front of those. So whatever would be best suited for this community, anywhere that really doesn't have a lot of art in that neighborhood and could use that to uplift that community.
Yeah.
Valerie, do
Thank
you have
you.
any questions?
No, I think that was my main question, but I'd like to be part of the discussion about where it goes.
That's
would love your
fine.
input.
Thank you, Valerie. Jimmy?
I'm supportive. I don't have any questions. I think if we move ahead, you may want to work with our economic development people and possibly our arts commission. And maybe Luke, since you're speaking after me, you might want to respond in terms of, I'm curious to know how much space do you need? I'm unclear of this.
So the box itself is 2 feet by 2 feet by 6 feet. So you don't really need a lot.
2 feet, 6 feet high, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet deep.
Yes. So it's a giant box, basically. Yes.
And would the outside of the box be attractive?
Of
Yeah,
course,
it's
we
painted
make
with
a
a
custom mural based off of what everyone would like done.
Say it again.
We make a custom mural, so it can be anything that the town decides they want. For the past 2 art magnets, we did a Maryland theme, but we're also capable of doing other themes as well. We've also done free little libraries with Wizard of Oz, The Never Ending Story, and the Lorax. So we really can do whatever design that seems fitting.
So I'm sorry, let me ask you one question. So if the box, let's say, was on Rhode Island Avenue, it would be, the mural would be on the outside and the artwork would be facing the business?
The artwork will be on the inside, but yes, you can see it from the outside because there'll be a glass, well, an acrylic piece that you can see a preview of inside of it.
And then the
where would
box
the-
itself is a work of art.
And where would the mural be?
On the
It's on
outside.
the outside. There's 3.
Well, how can you do a
solid
mural and
panels.
also see inside? I'm a little.
No,
Um,
there's 3
there's some
solid
pictures.
sides.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
We also have some images on our website if that's helpful. Whatever is best to share this, but you can also go and see our different locations in person.
Okay, I'll be
Um,
quiet. I'm taking up too much time. But thank you.
I
It's
didn't put our
important.
link. You can see the locations and the exterior mural and the interior. The interior is white, so that way all the artwork that goes inside of it pops. But the outside is created to attract people to come to the box and contribute.
There's
Thank you.
there's one on the Brentwood Exchange, Jimmy. So there's one of the closest ones we have. The other one is in Evanston, but the link that I sent you guys earlier today, it also has a presentation. It shows some of the locations that they have. But the Brentwood Arts Exchange is the closest ones we have
Mhm.
around.
Anyway, I
Okay.
suggest they work with our economic development team.
Yeah.
Maybe work with the businesses about where it would be best located.
Absolutely.
Luke, go ahead. You have your mic off, Luke, if you're talking.
Sorry. No, I appreciate you guys just giving me your email address. I can, I'm obviously supportive of this, but I can connect them to the Arts Commission in case the Arts Commission wants to consult at all with them on it.
Sounds great.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming. Council, you already heard the information. The next step regarding this is, like you say, you guys are gonna connect into the Art Commission, is also for us to allocate funds. It is a direction we move so that we could put it on the agenda for September to be able to get the remaining of the funds, the 1/3 that they need to be able to complete this project. Okay, so I will go ahead and ask for it to be put in the September agenda when it comes to the fund. And in the meantime, from here to the September meeting, they could talk to the Arts Commission and anything else, econ, to be able to get some of the answers that they might need. Okay.
Wonderful. Does anyone else have any questions?
Council, do you guys have any questions? So that's good for tonight.
No questions for me.
Thank you, Jared. Valerie,
I'm good. Thank you.
Jimmy,
Good.
thank you. Thank you, Valerie, as well. Luke.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you, Shine and Renee, for like coming in by, and it's pretty great work. I know one of the things that we were thinking about, like, was trying to do it in the first meeting we discussed, like potentially like the ability for us to be able to put into kind of like a food pantry kind of thing. So that will accommodate, like, it'll serve to us art, but also be able to provide some stuff for our community. Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much, and have a great night. We'll continue being in touch, okay? And Luke will
Okay.
connect you with the Arts Commission, and we'll connect you also with econ through Mr. Kamali as well. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good night. All right, so moving on to item number 6, closed session summary. The Vice Mayor Jerry Stoffes will read the closed session summary for Tuesday, July 26, 2022 into record. Go ahead, Jared. Your mic is off, Jared.
Close, sorry, guys. Close under annotated code, Revisions, Article 3-301B7. Those who want to go in closed session, Selena, Luke, Jarrett, myself, Jimmy, and Valerie. Unanimous of elected officials. Selena, Luke, Jarrett, Jimmy, Valerie. Those in attendance, Mayor Selena, Luke, Jarrett, Jimmy, Valerie, City Manager Kamali, Police Chief Linwood Alston, City Legal Counsel Lisa Levand. Actions taken to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over this public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. And 2, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, not advice. And topics discussed, same things. I can, yeah. Recorded vote to close the meeting, July 26, 2022, 7:52. Location is virtual. Motion to close the meeting made by Selena Benitez, seconded by Jared Stoltz, who is 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, 0 absent. And again, it was closed for reasons 1 and reasons 7 and 3-305B as noted earlier. And that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so that was the first summary of the closed session, and right now we are down to every single closed session summary has been read, so we're up to date with everything. So thank you so much, Vice Mayor, for making sure we're sticking to being up to date with the summaries as well. Okay, thank you, Melissa, as well. All right, so item number 7, introduction and first reading of ordinance 9-2022 FY23 budget. Okay, so I see 2 different things right here, guys. So introduction and first reading of ordinance 09-2022. Mayor and Council will introduce and have the first reading of ordinance 09-2022. Melissa, can you move the agenda up to see what number 8 looks like? All the way up to let me see number 8. Okay, go down, please. Let me see. All right. So introduction and first reading ordinance 9-2022 FY 2023 budget amendment number 1. The Mayor and Council will introduce and have the first reading of ordinance number 09-2022. Can you put it on the screen, please, Melissa? Thank you. Melissa, you're becoming a pro at this. Okay, so let me give you a first summary of what this is. Okay, well, those letters are small. It says authorize the movement of funds in the fiscal year 2023 budget between line items, whereas the City of Mount Rainier budget for fiscal 23 was adopted by ordinance 04-2022 in May 2022, and whereas it has been deemed necessary to transfer funds between line items to meet current demand for goods and services, and now therefore be ordained by Mayor and Council of the City of Mount Rainier, Maryland, that the following transfers of funds between appropriations shall be made to the fiscal year 2023 budget of the City of Mount Rainier, Maryland. From line item, guys, sorry, I need to like maximize this. My poor eyes are burning. Line item 5598 contingency. Thank you, Melissa. Amount 2,500 to line item 5057. Mount Rainier Youth Council for the amount of 2,500. Line item 5598 contingency amount of 50,000 to line item 5556 cultural community events for the amount of 50,000. From line item 4506 speed camera violations amount of 8,181 with 76 cents to line item 5204 police supplies and equipment for the amount of 8,181 with 76 cents. Move it up a little bit. Total amount of $60,681 with 76 cents. So I'll go item by item. On the last year budget, we had discussed the creation of youth council. And we also discussed in us allocating funds for that council, so that way they could advise mayor and council when it comes to youth activities and recommendations for this year. The item of the youth council, the youth advisory council, will be addressed also in this agenda later on. so for its first reading, but we thought it was important to put money attached to the council like we do with the other committees to make sure that they could also guide us and advise us when it comes to activities for the youth. All right, from line item, the second one for cultural community events, that is 50,000. That is for the city to be able to conduct community events. Currently, we don't have any funding, and as an example, for Juneteenth, we didn't even have 2 nickels to rub together to be able to do an event. We managed to do it, but the reality is like between very limited to no funds and Selena's personal bank account, it is not sustainable for us to be able to carry cultural events on the back of my bank account, right? So, and I'm talking about my personal account. So the idea was to be able to put some funding on it when it comes to things like Asian American Month for the city to conduct stuff, Women's Month, African American, Latino, Indigenous, Juneteenth, Diwali. So all those various cultural months and events, so that we're able to, as a city, conduct business, whether it includes like putting banners to put banners, conduct a program, and everything else the city has been required to do beyond just reading a declaration. Another point of information, you know, as an example, when we passed the resolution for the LGBTQIA plus, the city didn't even have like funding allocated to be able to buy a flag. So the first flag that was bought was actually one that I bought. Eventually, we were able to put money to be able to buy a flag, but the reality is like if we are a city that prices stuff with culture, event, and community, we need to be able to create those spaces so that way we are able to enjoy, embrace our community. The other thing that's going to be added to that is also the Caribbean month celebration. That's one of the last pieces that we're currently still missing when it comes to our cultural events. All right, so line item 4506 speed camera violations. Kamali or Chief, can you guys let us know what that's for?
That is, yeah, go ahead, Chief, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chief. You're muted, Chief. Mr. Kamali, cede you the floor.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I was letting Mr. Kamali go ahead.
No, it's all right, Chief. You can give them the explanation for that. Police supplies and equipment that we have 13,000 in FY23, and the contract was 21,000. So go ahead and just provide the information.
Okay,
so
sure.
Mr. Kamali, you cede the floor, Chief. That's what I want to you.
Okay, I can hear you fine. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. What we had is we allocated 13,000. We're going to move that. We have a $20,000 payment for our Axion body worn camera system. That includes the storage, the equipment maintenance, and all for that program. So that's that sums that up.
All right, perfect. So Council, I'm gonna open up the floor to you if you have any questions regarding this. Can you minimize it now, Melissa, so you can see the whole heading? And put the top over there. You go. For you guys to take a look at Ordinance 09-2022 Budget Amendment number 1, and this is like the first reading of it. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna go with Valerie, Jared, Luke, and Jimmy.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think I'm generally in support of all 3 of these budget amendment, or this budget amendment for all 3 of these things. I do have a question. Do we have a list of the events that the cultural community events would cover? I think you walked through them and invoiced it, but do we have that written down somewhere? I just wanted to note that we do have currently, I think in the community activities budget, 16,500 for community events. So I just want to be sure that we know what the total amount for like community events will be going forward, and what the actual events are. That would be helpful. So.
Melissa, do you have that with you?
No, Mayor, but I could send out an email tomorrow with all the events that we propose to put under that line item.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Any other question, Valerie? We'll provide the list forward. I mean, I read it through it because I just did that with Melissa and went through it, but we'll go
Right.
ahead and like provide a list to you guys as well.
Yep, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Jared?
Yep, no, I'm fully in support of these, and thanks for bringing these to our attention. All of these items, Youth Council very much in support for, and the allowance for cultural community events, which I think gives us, a resources to plan and support more comprehensive community engagement events. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Jimmy?
I don't have any comment. I'm supportive.
Thank you so much. Luke?
Yeah, I think one of the concerns I just have, I'm most supportive of this, but the cultural community events, that just does seem like a lot of money, and I get nervous about staff capacity to do some of this stuff, and our capacity, Mayor. I know you take on a lot of this, and I'm just really nervous about setting this much money and setting this much time aside for people. I don't know who has the time. So maybe at our next discussion on this, I'd like to know just the two answers to those questions. Sort of how much money is it for each event, and then how much time, who on staff do we expect to work this stuff, and how much time will they need for each event? That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, usually it falls under the office of the clerk, right? And I know them in communication in the city works together, and I support whatever I can. But they have been finding this stuff, it's hard and hard for them to be able to conduct events with no funding attached. So they've been doing the most minimal as they can, but they want to be able to see other things coming along with it. And including that, we could pull definitely various community members to help out. But the reality is, just standing in front of City Hall and just reading a proclamation is not building community. I think that was one of the concerns for Juneteenth. They were able to get like a little banner for us to do a unity walk and everything like that. But definitely, the more we talked about it, we would have loved to see music and food and enjoying the event and being able to share the experience, right? So that's part of also building community. It's not just about building and fixing streets and buildings, but it's also getting to know each other and enrich each other. That's the importance, at least for me, when it comes to it. We have a very diverse group, and I feel like, especially with after COVID, since we'll have been put aside, there's also this extra need to be able to join and get to know your neighbors, but also get to know their the rest of the information. But definitely the run through, but it's definitely, the team has done a lot to try to, put stuff together, but it's hard when you have like zero budgets attached to it. Even then they do as much as they can, but definitely just like Pride grew from a resolution to a full-blown event, right? And the city does their own thing as part of it. I think that's the reason why it was important. But we'll go ahead and give you the rest of the information as well. And
Right. And then just one more thing, Mayor. So I would just like to make sure to hear from staff that they think that this is something that they can totally pull off. I think Mr. Kamali, just hearing from that this is, that's all I want. Thanks. Sure.
Thank you, Luke. All right. So you guys heard a fair view reading of the ordinance. You guys gave your feedback. If you guys need another round, please let me know. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and open up to the community. Okay, so if you're a member of the community and you'd like to speak on any of this topics, please go ahead and let us know. Put your name and last name, block number, and let us know you'd like to speak on this subject. Okay, Jared, do you have anything on Facebook? Thank you so much. And I don't see anything on the chat. And Okay, seeing nothing, we'll move on to notes. I definitely look forward to this budget amendments passing, so that way we continue enriching our community with the various events and becoming very invited and making sure we're just not, focusing on one aspect of the life of Mount Rainier, but collectively. All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much. So moving on to the next item. Introduction of resolution, introduction and first reading of resolution number 3 dash, oof. Oh, you put a period this time around. I thought I was going blind. So 3-2022, creating the Mount Rainier Youth Council. This is the first reading. We have discussed this in a previous meeting. And when originally brought in, I told you guys it was just an idea to figure out how we're feeling about it before we put some time and effort into it. The resolution has been created by our legal team. Can you put it on the screen, Melissa, please? Thank you so much. So the purpose of this resolution, move it up a little bit higher, Melissa. Right there. So the purpose is for providing the opportunity of city youth to learn about local government and have voices, thereby, and provide an opportunity for younger members of the community to build leadership skills through community network. The group will be grades from 7 to 12. This will continue building the pipeline of reinforcing civic engagement. With part like the junior program, you also have now the youth council and the scholarship program to be able to have the students in interaction when it comes to our, day-to-day work and be able to hear from the youth voices. And that includes being able to get advice for them to be able to help creating activities. And at the same way, enrich themselves with what is local government. Hopefully we're building, the next precedent within our city with this. Okay. So the resolution is there. I basically gave you a brief summary. The only thing that this one, I'm gonna have to tweak it just a tiny bit because this resolution states that the applications will go out at the end of June. And by June 30, we'll select who it is. Obviously, because this resolution is being put forward right now, we will already miss that deadline. So we'll have to move it up at least for this year for September. So that way we're able to promote it and try to get some of the students to be able to join and go through the whole introduction and work of the pilot, work of the first year. So there's a resolution and I'm gonna go open it to council. Go ahead, Luke. Your mic is muted, Luke.
Sorry about that. No, I just support this, Mayor. This is just a great thing you keep doing to support the youth in our town with the scholarship program. And this, I think it just does a good job at engaging those who are, not too familiar with local city politics and who need to learn more about it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Same as Luke. Thank you, Mayor, for doing this.
Thank you both. Jared, Valerie.
Yep, I concur. I think this is a great opportunity to wrap youth and other folks that are typically not as engaged or wrapped into our civic process, and excited for the next steps.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
I agree. I think this is great, and I'm looking forward to seeing who steps up to serve on youth council. So thank you for doing this, and I look forward to seeing it happen.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And please start, looking at youth that might be interested on it, or letting them know this program is going to be coming, so that way they're aware of it. That'll keep us in closer contact with our middle and high school students. That sometimes it feels like once they leave elementary, we're not as connected. So perfect. All right. Any member of the council has any feedback on resolution 3-2022? Please let us know. Go ahead and comment on the chat box. Jared, anything else? Anything on Facebook? Thank you so much. And I see no comments on the chat. So I'll go ahead and make the adjustments for, for this year, for us to make the assumption to move it to September, and then we could go on from there on from July, so that we could have a team working on this after we pass it. So Mr. Kamali, Melissa, please make sure that this resolution is added to our September agenda so that we could have the second reading vote. Okay?
We will. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the next item of the agenda. Presentation of the minutes. The mayor and council received the June 7, 2022 legislative, sorry, Melissa. The mayor and council received the June 7, 22 legislative meeting, July 21st, 2022 special legislative meeting, and work session for July 21st, 2022 special legislative meeting, public hearing, and July 26th special legislative meeting from the city clerk. Council, the clerk and her team have presented to us the minutes. Please take a look at them. If you have any feedback from her, please submit it as soon as possible, so that way she could edit. So for the September meeting, we get to approve. Under council meetings and agenda in our website, you will find the meetings. Once the minutes get approved, you'll see it right there, the YouTube and the time, for the meeting as well. So communications team has done a great job also mainstreaming where the information is going, and for us to keep a better record of agenda, minutes, and YouTube. So thank you for taking the feedback, communication team. I know that's one of the things that I really wanted, and you guys beautifully deliver. Okay, so council, do you guys have anything to say about the minutes? If not, please submit them within the next 7 days to Melissa, so she has enough time to turn them around and then have them ready for our September meeting. Okay. So I'm gonna go Valerie.
I will review and get back to you, but yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you so much. Jared.
I'm good.
Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy Tarlo, you're on mute.
Good, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Luke.
I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you guys so much. So Melissa, thank you for putting this, and your whole team for putting the minutes and keeping us on track as well, okay? All right, so I know you guys are heartbroken, but moving on to item number 10, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:05?
So moved.
It's been probably moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Objections? Abstentions? Hearing none. This meeting has come to an end at 9:05, and please do not go because we do have a public hearing right now. Melissa, make sure to let me know, I don't forget. Okay, so this meeting, the special legislative meeting has come to an end at 9:05 p.m. and we're gonna be moving on to agenda for the public hearing regarding emergency ordinance number 07-2022, amending the code of ordinance of the city of Mount Rainier, chapter 13, traffic, to add section 13-123, speed monitoring system, thereby codifying the city of Mount Rainier speed monitoring system ordinance number 9 is that guys, 9-229, is that correct? And amending the city's.
Sorry, Mayor, it's a typo.
Okay, can you please fix? I know we're not. I know you guys like to think in the future, but I was like, we have not gotten to it yet. Thank you so much, Melissa. Ordinance 9-2009, and amending the city's speed monitoring system to reflect recent changes in state. This meeting will be, this hearing is held today, Tuesday, 08/2022, following the special legislative meeting. So I'm gonna start with call to order for the rector. Luchesek.
Here.
Jimmy Tarlo.
Yeah.
Jerry Stolfus.
I'm here.
Valerie Woodall.
I'm here.
And I'm here. So we have a full team. Can you move it up, Melissa? We're gonna do a review of the agenda with I will ask to please keep in mind, we did change one typo that we had in the top of the heading. That will be something that I'll be asking for us to officially amend. And Vice Mayor can go ahead and read point number 3 and 4.
Yes, public, or can you hear me? Public hearing
Yes.
regarding emergency ordinance 7-2022. Amending the code and ordinance of the city of Mount Rainier, chapter 13, traffic, to add section 13-123, speed monitoring systems, thereby codifying the city of Mount Rainier speed monitoring system ordinance 9-2009, and amending the city's monitoring system to reflect recent changes in state law.
Thank you so much. Chief, do you have anything to add or give us a brief summary about the ordinance and go ahead?
Sure, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Pretty much, as it says, this emergency ordinance is going to codify our ordinance 9-2009, and it's going to amend the city speed monitoring system to reflect the recent changes in state law. And those changes are under Transportation Article 21-809. That article was amended by the Maryland General Assembly to authorize municipalities in Prince George's County to place speed cameras on highways in residential districts with a maximum posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour and may be operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that summarizes the changes there.
Thank you so much, Chief. If you guys know, we have a speed camera, and this will allow to codify it in the visit that we had. We also realized that, like obviously we need to put new signs up once this is like the hearing is completed. And Chief is going to work with the county to make sure that it's taking place as well. All right, so I'm going to open up the floor to actually, Council, if you guys, you guys don't have to nothing, it's a hearing. Can you move it up, Melissa? So I'm gonna open up the hearing up at this moment. If any member of the community wishes to say something, please type your name, last name, street number, and block. As an example, if you live on 38 or something of 38th Street, you don't have to say the second, you say 3800 38th Street. Your name and last name for the record, and let us know your feedback on this ordinance. Okay, so go ahead and type. And Jared, can you please make sure you monitor also Facebook and let me know if any comments are coming through. Okay, so let me see. We do have members in the public in the chat as well, but nothing yet. So I'll give it a minute or two to make sure we give it a fair assessment if anybody would like to say something. Okay. Okay, I do not see anything on the chat. Jared, anything on Facebook still? All right, thank you. So, Council, do you guys want to say anything, or we could just move on to item number 4? because we're having no feedback from the community at this point.
I
on
move to
floor.
adjourn.
Okay, so there's a motion on the front to adjourn. Any seconds?
Seconded.
Jared seconded. I was moved by Chesek. Okay, any discussion? Any objections? Any abstentions? All right, so the public hearing for the emergency ordinance 07-22 has come to an end at 9:13 p.m. Thank you guys so much.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, staff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Again,
much,
thank
everyone,
you.
staff and
Thank you
council.
also for making yourself available as well in a short turnaround and following through with this. Okay, have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Good
staff.
night.